Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, and welcome back to Ravenport Farm. This is career mode in the start from scratch difficulty. So right about now, you're saying to yourself, hey Will, is that a sugar beet harvester? Yeah, it sure is. And then you're saying, but Will, I thought you hated harvesting sugar beets. Oh, I really do. I really do, but God, that thing is loud. But we took a contract job. Let me tell you why. And I'm just going to let this thing get to the end of the road. Even on contract work, I still like to, you know what I'm saying? I like to kind of be legit. But I set this all up and I timed it all just right so it would finish when we did the last load. And then if you saw just after we started, it went ahead and finished kind of on its own. I thought we were going to have to drop off the last load. So we'll let this thing get to the end of the row and then we'll stop it. And then I'll go in and I'll show you several things about missions that I'm kind of discovering. And missions it's where it's at, man. It's where it has to be at. I think, well, we'll get to that later. Definitely in the difficulty mode that we're in, missions is where it's at, but I think maybe for the game as a whole, missions is where it's at. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. This is a gorgeous piece of equipment, though. It's going to get loud when I get up close to it, but it is risky. That thing, man. Beautiful. And if you look underneath, you can like see the whole process under there. You can see the potatoes coming up on the little belt down there, and you can see the shaker, right? Pulls them out and knocks all the dirt off and dumps the dirt back in the field. Beautiful. It's fantastic. So we don't need to empty this thing out, but you know what? I think I will, because I want to show you the drop off and what I've been doing for the past over 3 hours. Oh, right, so stop the worker. So one thing, if you look down in the HUD, you can see, yep, for real, that is 3.4 hours I've been on this contract. And then the other thing is, on the HUD, you can see that to the top, just to the left of center, there's a little spanner, right, a little wrench. That's at about 50% right now. So the machines do seem to get wear and tear on them very, very quickly, and it really impacts their performance to the point where this thing, when it started, was running about 13 kilometers per hour, and by the time we got done, it was down to about 8 kilometers per hour. Now, I could take it down and have it fixed, but there's two problems with that. One is, give it. One is, you pay, give it, come on, there it goes. You pay for repairs based on the price of the equipment, and this is like a 400,000 euro harvester. So it would be really, really expensive to get it fixed, and it would take that price out of our account. Like, we would pay for that, and that would impact how much we get paid for the job. So those are the two problems. One is it would be expensive, and the other thing is we would be paying for it. Let me show you... well, let me show you the contract that we took first. Harvest the beets in field 8, 75,000 euro. Whew. Right on, man. Now, the reason I'm not completing it is when we do, everything will disappear. Right, all the equipment will be returned, and I want to show you the drop-off point. Basically, I just drove up to this drop-off point 25 times. I left the harvester itself on a worker, and I just made like trip after trip after trip to the sell point. You know, it is what it is. It is a farming simulator. But what I learned doing this job is, and in fact, once we complete it and get paid, I'll show you all the other jobs. Essentially, I could have done 3 8,000 euro fertilizing jobs per hour for the past 3 hours, made the same amount of money, actually made more, because our pay for this will be 75,000 less the 6,000 euro for the farmer to lease the equipment for us to use. Now, there's 3 ways you can do this when you take a contract. You can either do it with your own equipment, you can do it with their equipment and get paid slightly less, or I made this mistake once. I took the job to do it with my own equipment that I didn't have, and I was planning on leasing it. The problem is, like, this job will get paid 6,000 euro less because the farm owner leased the equipment for 6,000 apparently. If we had leased it ourselves, just the beet harvester No header, no truck, no trailer, nothing. Just the beet harvester would have been 39,000 euro to lease. So I made the mistake of thinking, well, I'll just lease my own equipment. No, it does not work that way. So, well, I mean, it can work that way. You can certainly do it that way, but then you won't make nearly as much money. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Anything that you drop off at the sell point after the job is completed, you get the money for. Ah, okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I'm learning things about this game. I think there may be some bugs, and in the same way that, well, I don't want to call them a bug, a vulnerability, a hack, maybe, in the same way that in FS17, definitely in 15, but I think in 17 as well, the silage was not, the money was not accurate. You could make so much money from silage. The same way in FS15, you could take one tree down to the pond, right? You get a little tractor with a front loader and a chainsaw, and you could cut down a tree and just bump it down to the pond. You didn't even need a loader or a trailer or anything. You could just essentially drag it and scoot it along the road to the pond and make 25,000 euro. So you could cut 4 trees down, right? And cover the cost of that tractor that you just got. So it was, I don't know, call it what you will. Call it a hack, call it a vulnerability. But I feel like the silage was such a thing in definitely in 15 and sort of in 17, although I think they fixed it at some point. So maybe that is kind of a vulnerability in this version, where if you keep working after you've completed the job, what you sell after you've completed the job is yours to keep. But we're not going to do that because I don't feel like messing with that beet harvester anymore, because it literally has been 3 hours. Now, you can save missions now, and for some reason I feel like you couldn't do that in 17. You had to complete a mission, and they were also time sensitive. But I took this mission last night just so I got it before it went away, and then I worked it a little bit last night. I went to sleep in the game, I went to sleep in real life, and then I got up this morning, I worked it a little bit more, and then I ran some errands, and then I came back and worked it a little bit more. So you can save the game, you can save out of the game and go do other things, and the mission doesn't go away. So I will never do a mission like this again. I didn't like harvesting beets before, I like it even less now, and I could have made exactly the same money. Actually, no, a little bit more money, because we could have used our own fertilizer spreader. So that is one thing. Now, I learned something else. The maintenance model, and I learned this before I took this job, I learned this with my own equipment. The maintenance model is pretty strict, and I think it may be more strict in the difficulty that I'm in, but the machines wear very, very quickly. And it's not only the tractors that wear now, the implements wear as well, and will slow you down. So everything was slowing down on my little tractor broadcast spreader combo. So I took the tractor in and got it tuned up, and it was still slow. So I took my broadcast spreader in, got it tuned up, and now we're back to top speed. I don't know if you always needed to get the implements repaired. For some reason, I feel like you only needed to get self-propelled vehicles repaired. More or less anything with an engine you needed to get fixed, but other things sort of took care of themselves. But in 19, it seems like you need to fix everything. So, yeah, and what caught my eye about that was I had seen a red exclamation point on a subsoiler in one of my test profiles, and I didn't really think much about it, but I guess I had worn my subsoiler down to the point where it was no longer working properly. So, yep, something to be aware of. Something else, we're trying to drive back to the farm, and we're stuck behind the Flying Dutchman here. Come on, man. There you go. Something else that I'm aware of. Our sheep seem to be feeding themselves, and when we get down to the farm and I complete the job and all this equipment disappears, I didn't feel like running back to the farm. Not very realistic. So we're just going to drive this thing down to our little valley here, and then we will complete the mission. This truck will disappear, and we'll hop onto our own farm and sort of take over from there. And it's 15:30. Yeah, I think we're gonna, our soybeans are ripe, so I think we're gonna harvest them. I think we are. But as far as how we do that, yeah, TBD. But we'll figure it out. So let's park this up. Let's just pull it over right here. It's going to disappear in a second, so this is okay. So we'll go here. We'll go to missions. We'll complete that. Fantastic. What did we get? 68,000. Yeah, so that's 75,000 less the cost of the equipment that the farmer leased for us. Okay, fantastic. So we are making money. We've got our loan paid down to, in fact, I'll show you right now. I'll show you right now on our money. So on Wednesday, I sold the Lizard truck and I sold the little tipper that we had. We weren't using either of them, and I suspect I was never going to use that little truck. So I sold those for 34,000 and I bought more animals. And then, as you can see, no other funny business income. Take a look at my books, and we've been making more and more money every day from contract jobs. So we made almost 100 grand today. Good for us. And our loan is paid down to 350, and in fact, I'm going to pay it down to 300 right now while I'm thinking about it. So that is finances. I have been putting some money into maintaining that tractor. I'm thinking of switching over to New Holland. You know, I like to be kind of matchy-matchy. I know that's weird, but that's just my thing, man. I feel like if you owned a farm in a town, there would be an implement store, and they would sell typically 1 or 2 brands, but they wouldn't sell every brand in the world. So this is our wool. I was wondering if these were 1,000 or 2,000 liters a piece. They're 1,000 liters a piece. The prices are brutal on this difficulty. You get 500 euro for one of those. So everything that's here, we get 2,500 euro, right? 2,500 euro. I mean, we just accidentally got 2,500 euro when we sold some sweet potatoes. I always say sweet potatoes. Sugar beets that were not ours. So it's really not a lot of money. We do have, we're up to 57 sheep, and they're starting to reproduce faster now. We're making more than 1 sheep per day. Water, you can see we need to water. Yeah, we're going to do that right now. So we're going to clean up after our sheep, and the food that's perfect because I can show you what I wanted to show you. I've put a total of 3 bales in there at 4,000 liters apiece, which is 12,000 liters. There's 28,000 liters in there, and there's more sheep than we've ever had. I'm curious if they're not eating this grass. And now I'm also curious because our grass was, or our sheep pen, when we placed it on grass. So the way I'm seeing it is there's 3 possibilities. One is that the sheep feed themselves no matter where you put the pasture. The second possibility is our sheep particularly are feeding themselves because we put their pasture on top of grass. And then the third possibility is it's just bugged out. So I don't know at the moment, but I know they really seem to be taking care of themselves. So good for them, man. I like a little self-sufficiency. I cannot believe that every time I start recording, some type of construction activity begins right outside my window. It was leaf blowers for several days. It sounds like somebody's got a chop saw out there. So we got water. Clean up after them. Our little pile of floor food is growing. That's it right there to the left. Our pile of floor food is growing because we can't dump it back into the trough because the trough is always reading as full. So curious what's going on with the sheep. So that is right there. That's right there. We'll get these critters cleaned up, and then we're going to go rent. I think we're going to buy a tipper, and we're going to rent a combine harvester, a little one. And then we're going to rent a combine harvester and a little header and bring in those soybeans. I'm curious how much we make. Let me see if I can dump this in here now. For the longest time, I have not been able to because it's been completely full. We've got 95 liters in there. Let's see what goes into the trough. 10 liters. Okay. And that takes us back to 100%. It sure does. Okay. Now, you may have seen right there, it said that cleanliness was not back up yet to 100%. It's because the floor food that we had taken out of their area was still, even though it was in the bucket, it was still in their area. So it should be, yeah, it's at 100%. Okay, so let us get rid of this thing. Man, it's Friday. I'm done talking for the week. I'm done doing everything for the week. It's about 14:30 where I am, and I'm going to finish this video, put it into render, go run some errands, and then I'm done. I'm done, man. Right, so drop that off. Go get our weight. And let's do this. There's no more follow me. Let's do it this way. Let's go here, and we are going to lease a combine harvester. How much for this one? To lease it? 8,000. Good grief. How much for this little fella? 11,000. Why is this so much higher than it was before? We're on patch 1.1.3.0. Those were like 3,500 euro to lease before. That's crazy. Is it worth buying one? Now, man, that changes everything. We will not make money from these soybeans. There's no way to make money from these soybeans now. No, I'm not ready to do that. We're going to lease. Okay. So we lease that. Yes. We lease a header. 2,500. Man. Okay. What's that leave us? 30 grand. We need a little tipper. You know what? Let's do this one. This one's always treated me right. Put some Michelin tires on there, like you do. And let's buy that thing. Okay. So, step one. Let's go pick up our tipper. Let me make this turn. Not quite. Let's go pick up our tipper, and then we'll run back down and get somebody else's. Oh, we'll run back down and get the bank's combine harvester. Yeah, you know, that's one of those things that, I mean, I feel like the economy in this game is really, really not accurate. It just, even on this hard difficulty, I feel like it's not accurate. And when I say it's not accurate, I don't mean it's easy. I mean it's not accurate. Like, we got paid 75,000, or the total cost to that farmer was 75,000 for the sugar beet job we did, right? Well, we took about 1.5 million liters of sugar beet out of that field, and they sell for like 100 euro for 1,000 liters, so it was 150,000 euro gross for that field, and they paid us half that. That just seems not accurate. That seems not right. And you know, some of the costs of the equipment, or like the wool at 500 a pallet, even if we wait for a great demand and it goes to 1,000 a pallet, we'd still have to sell 150 pallets just to cover the cost of the pasture, not even the sheep that we put in it. So it seems, I don't know, it seems like the only way you can make money is with contracts, to the point where there are times that it seems that you literally cannot make money farming in this game. But then there are other things that are a vulnerability, and with those things you make a ton of money. Now, I have not seen any type of a reputation. I haven't seen anything like that. And that has me a little perplexed as well, because the price of the fields that we've been working in, we've done a ton of work in field 4, field 11, now we've done field 8. This one right over here to our left, that's field 19, I want to think, 18 or 19. We've done several contracts in there, and none of them are getting cheaper. So I don't think there is reputation any longer. And I just realized I did this in reverse. I should have got the combine first and put it on a worker. Oh, could have been working this whole time. Okay, you know what? Live and learn. live and learn. Not the end of the world. Let's run down here. So I feel like the economy is, you know, and that makes me wonder about Seasons and how it was the mod that won the mod contest, and they put it into Goldcrest in FS19, and it just seemed like it was really a popular mod that people were really kind of clamoring for to give the game more realism and more structure. But without that, for me, again, it goes back to just being, you know, grinding and making money to buy bigger equipment simulator. So I'll find a way to make it work, but it's, I don't know. It's just, it's so different without Seasons. And I'll try not to go on and on about that. What else? There goes my voice. What else? There was something else that I noticed that really had me thinking. I was thinking that in oh God, and then I smack my knuckles off the desk. Oh, Friday can't get here soon enough. So it is Friday, by the way. I'm just being ironic. So when I did that big mission, I was thinking about RPG games, and how in RPG games there's this sort of cycle you go through, and you start, you know, you're grinding and you have really crappy equipment. You know, you have the wooden sword of disappointment, -5 to morale or whatever, and you know, you grind a little bit, you make some money, you level up your equipment, and you fight a boss and you get some loot, and you know, beat some traps and open some chests and get some loot, and then you fight like that third boss, you know, give or take, you fight that third boss, and you're sort of used to the loot that you've been getting when you beat a boss, and you fight that third boss and you just get hooked up, right? You get like a ton of coin, and you get all kinds of legendary items, some that you want and that you'll keep, and some that you'll sell, right? You know what I'm talking about. And it's like, okay, so the first couple bosses and all that grinding, that was just, they were just teaching me how to operate the game. They were just, you know, kind of letting me get familiar with it. But now that I've gone through the tutorial, more or less, now I can start the fun stuff. Now I can, you know, have better equipment and fight bigger enemies and whatever. So there was a part of me that thought, okay, the 75,000 euro job, this is like that third boss, right? This is like, I've paid my dues, I've done the tutorials, and now I can start playing for real. But I don't think that's the case. And with there being no reputation system, I really don't think that's the case. I think that's just a weird mission that you can spend 3 hours driving back and forth to the sell point. And really, I will never do that again. I'm not mad or anything, but I'll never do that again. I'll stick with my fertilizer missions. They seem to be the best compromise between profitability and actually enjoying yourself a little bit. Right. So this is important, we're at 8930. 8,930 euro. Okay. This field has lime. It was plowed. It was fertilized twice, and we hit it with the herbicide. So this is the maximum yield that you can get, which I think in this game now is capped at 165. I think you can lose yield for, yeah, I think if you don't take care of your weeds, you can lose yield and it takes you back down, but I don't think you can get 200 again. I want to say, it wasn't real clear. I went through it in the notes, and it wasn't real clear, but I don't think 3 ferts plus or in this case, 2 ferts plus a lime plus a plow equals 200% yield. And then if you don't take care of your weeds, it takes you back to 180. No, I don't think that's the case. Anyway, either way, we'll see shortly. So we're at the end of our first row. I'm curious what we got in our guy here. And this is, Soybean is going for It's dropped a little bit. $8.19 at the port grain elevator is the best price. We'll call it $800 just to keep the math even. So if we get 20,000 liters out of here, what is that? 16 grand? Let's see how we did. One row capacity wise. Oh God. We're not getting 20,000 liters out of this field. No way. I'd be surprised if we get 10. Okay, so we'll cover the cost of the rental for the harvester. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I don't know how you make money in this game. It's going to take forever. If the sheep just keep feeding themselves and all we have to give them is water that we get for free, it'll take 2 or 3 weeks of like real time, like real life, before the sheep pay for themselves. I mean, when we factor in, right now, everything that we get from this field, our entire gross from this field, is going to cover the rental for the combine harvester, and our net will be zero. And that's not including the chemicals that we put into it, seed, fertilizer, the lime, the wear and tear on the equipment to subsoil it and seed it, the cost of the drill, etc. So I really do feel like the economic model in this game is not in any way accurate. I mean, I'm still enjoying it. I've got like 70 hours into this game already. I'm still enjoying it. I do like it. There's just times when I don't get it. You know, I don't, unless the point of the game is just to mess around with agricultural equipment and you know, just goof off. Total sandbox. So let's we're gonna do that how many times? Let's say we're gonna do that 10 times, so we might get 12,000 liters. Okay, it is what it is. Pardon me while I hit the vape. And this is one of the most profitable crops in terms of dollars. Euro, you know what I mean. But like, what else could we have put in here? I did a cotton mission that paid, I think, 30,000, and it came with, I told the farmer to lease the equipment. It came with 2 cotton harvesters. I drove those up and got them started, and then I drove up in the big truck with the cotton bale lifter, and we got 4 bales out of that field that sold for 5,000 euro a piece. So in that case, the farmer didn't even recover the cost of what they paid me. So it just seems, you know what I mean? It just seems sort of goofy. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm going to trim off the end of this field so we can make the turnaround and not run into that drill where it is. I mean, it wouldn't run into it. It would just say it was obstructed. But let's get rid of these little headlands here. So yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. There's also some kind of wacky bumps in the fields that interfere with the equipment. Some divots. There's a couple divots in field 4, I want to say, maybe field 6. I was worried we were going to be chasing alongside this fella in our tipper, trying to keep him serviced, but this is just filling up so slowly. You know what, man? It is what it is. If you don't like it, don't play it. But I do like it. And there's really no other farm sim like it. You see that a lot in the reviews. People are like, you know, there is no competition, and that, I guess, cuts both ways for Giants. So I think since I missed this little bit on the end, we'll just start another row here on the worker. I could be doing this myself, but I do want to get in the tractor. Well, there goes my plans to buy a new tractor. Come on, are we moving? Eventually, are we moving? Good grief. What's the hold up here? Yeah, we're caught on some kind of divot. Our header is up, is it not? Yeah, we're just not moving. Fantastic. Oh, game. Right. There it goes. Okay. Whew. So much fun. Right. You know what? I don't even need to worry about it. Where are we at on time? We're at 30 minutes already. Okay. Should I finish this on camera? No, I don't think I will. I think what I'll do is let it run till it's full. I'll empty it one time just to see, and then we'll call it from there. Man, if I was a real farmer, I think I might slide up on this hill and maybe smoke a bowl and watch my guy working. Watch my guy earning his pay, earning my pay. So yeah, I don't know how to make money with any of the things that we own right now. Other than time. I feel like if we gave our sheep enough time, they would eventually make us money. But as far as planting this field, it's like we didn't even need to do this. We didn't need to rent this combine. What we should have done is just fed the sheep and done nothing. And then at that point, you can become even more absurd. Don't even do that. Just do contract jobs. But that's, you know, what fun is that? You want to build your own farm, but I feel like I don't want to say there's no way for a farm to be profitable, but it's pretty close, you know. And there's also, when you look in the economy, when you look in your money, there's a lot of things in here. But what you can't do is, at least not that I've found, what you can't do is zoom in on a piece of equipment and find out how much money it's made you. Right? You can see how old it is. You can see how many hours it has on it. You can see, is that whether it's leased? Yeah, that's a lease item, pardon me. And then you can see what you could sell it for. But you can't see what value you have derived from it, because what I would want to do, and this goes back to when I was involved in that software startup. We did corporate performance management software, and basically what it did was exactly that. You could look at really any aspect of your operation and see the numbers. It was like a big 3D spreadsheet, if you want to think of it that way. So I can just do a thumbnail. I know we had 8,900 euro when we started. I can do a thumbnail and determine what we made from this field. But I'm guessing, if, like I said, if we get 10,000 liters out of it, and we might, then we make 8,000 euro, which is exactly the cost of the rental for this harvester. So we made $0 net. Zero euro net profit. But I can figure that out because it's obvious. But once we have a bigger operation going, how do we figure that out for all of our equipment and all of our fields, to know which fields to sell, which fields to hang on to, you know, what's profitable, what crops work best for us, other than just the basic numbers like soybeans sell for a lot, therefore plant soybeans. I don't know. It's a fun game, but I feel like I think about it too much and I ruin it, because it's really in its current state, the way I'm playing it, I feel like it's not a sim that really stands up to a lot of scrutiny. You know, just play it and have fun. Don't think too much, because if you do, you'll be like, wait a minute. And that's sort of the loop that I'm caught in now. Can't be unseen. I do like the shadow of that radio mast across the farm. That is very, very accurate and very immersive. So I'm gonna hop out here. Whenever we get our tractor, I'm going to empty this guy one time and then call it, because it's going to take forever to harvest this field. Now, what do I do with this field next? Do I bother planting it again? Or do I do more missions until, well, but even that, right? Like you're just fooling yourself. Because if we did, let's say we did missions and paid off our loan completely and bought a little combine harvester, right? It still has to pay for itself. The fact that we earned money doing contract jobs doesn't change the fact that the combine harvester is going to cost us 100,000 euro. So if we're buying equipment with contract job money, knowing we're not going to make money with it on our farm, then we're just subsidizing collecting equipment. So, and that's what I mean when I say don't think about this game too much, because if you do, it's no fun. Alright, we're about, I'd say we're about a quarter done with this field, maybe a third. Let's see what we got here. We're a quarter done, but we're going to get 16,000 liters, 16, 8, we'll get about 12,000. We'll get about 12,000 when we sell. Okay. I mean, it's not nothing, but less the cost of our $8,000. And what did it cost to rent our header? I keep talking about this thing here. So that takes us to 11. Okay, so then when you combine the two, when you combine the least cost for the harvester and the least cost for the header, if we sell our crop for 12,000, we made 1,000 euro. You know, I don't know. That just seems something's not quite right. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, that's enough of me complaining, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 19 from Ravenport Farm on Start from Scratch difficulty. We will see you next time. Take care now.